Meeting workshop is called to order. I have no public comments. Number 3, discussion regarding possible reconstruction of the Cottonwood Dam.
I'd like to introduce Bill Myers with Myers Engineering to discuss, and Bill, we changed things. You're gonna sit down there.
Okay. Push everything.
There may or may not be a camera directly in front of you, but you don't have to ever look at it, of course. And if you'll talk to us a little bit about why we would look at doing a dam, and a little bit about what that would entail.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, well, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity of talking to everybody. You know, we put an intake, would be the third intake on the Cottonwood. We put it in 2009, something like that. We did it when we, as part of the water plant project. The intake's been it's worked out good for us. The overall base flow in the Cottonwood Basin has decreased, primarily due, we've had a drought, obviously, everybody's heard about. We use the Cottonwood flow to supplement our lakes. Okay, sometimes we take the flow into Liberty, sometimes we bring part of it to the plant directly. So it's been a blessing we've had it. But the fact that the base flow is just diminishing, we're struggling keeping water, basically enough water over the pumps to where we can get the amount of water transferred to make it worth our while. So, and there's other things at play. Someday Oklahoma City is going to stop discharging as much wastewater into the stream, so the flows will be even less. So there's a lot of things that are happening. So what we were proposing was, we've been talking about this for a number of years, about putting in a low water dam to enhance the water surface level or elevation over our pumps, get more water out. And you have in front of you some preliminary budget numbers and some, there's a layout in there as well. So basically what we'd be doing is we would be, essentially, you can imagine, just a nominal 5-foot-high dam, perpendicular to the center line of the creek, with a tremendous amount of riprap on it, so it doesn't float away on us. We put two different options together. The one that we felt like was better was option 1, which had a construction cost of $390,000. It had if you look on the layout, that I think you'll find your package. I don't know if you made it in there or not. I don't see the layout. Okay. Anyway, we're going to put on the north bank. That's where a lot of the erosion is taking place. We need to, thank you, we need to add riprap to the north bank. So when we put the budget together, we saw this probably was going to be a struggle financially. So we came back and looked what could we trim back to maybe survive with, and that's where the second option is, and it has a total construction cost. The second option has a total project cost of $403,000, construction cost of $259,000. The first option had a total cost of $580,000, a construction cost of $390,000. Now the difference between them is the amount of riprap that we used, but the end result is the more riprap we use, the more secure the dam is. And what we're thinking about is a catastrophic event. More riprap we use, the more it's going to protect the dam, our investment, from a catastrophic event when it comes up. When the creek actually comes up, when it overtops its banks, the velocities aren't that high. It's just we're concerned about when between the point where it is now, when it gets really, really high, the velocities are a little bit greater, and a large tree coming through, something coming through, tearing up the dam. Was the concept there. So, we have the pumping facilities are there. We just need more water on top of our facility, our pipe. So that's basically what we had. There's a few little permitting issues we need to do with the Corps as we move along. So we're at that point now. We either need to, we need to move forward with the permitting so we can then ultimately go to construction.
Good question. What's the capacity that we can obtain from this dam in this project?
Well, what's going to happen is, do you remember what the output of the pumps are off the top of my head?
They're 30,000 gallons for 2 kilometers, so 1,500 gallons a minute. For each pump.
1,500 a minute?
We can take out 4 million gallons a day.
4 million, okay.
Out of the creek.
What do we get now?
Right now,
when we do pull from it?
we're doing 1.2.
1.2. Okay. That's a big difference.
It is.
Yeah.
Now again, if we were in a wet period, there's no problem, but it seems like when we need the water, we're in a dry period, when the wet period is there, we don't need the water, so we don't necessarily need to pump it. So
Well, we're still in a long drought cycle.
we are in a long drought cycle, that is true, so. Anyway, what it does is it's going to enhance capabilities that we have, or it's going to help us basically maintain those.
And couldn't you use this to pump the water out of the Cottonwood into the Liberty and Guthrie all the time, whatever?
Was your question, could we use it for that?
Yeah, pump
Yeah,
it
and we can.
raise those lake levels.
We can, then we've done that. We primarily gone into Liberty, and then at times it will go directly to the plant. And then we do have the ability to, I don't know if we've ever done it, but we could get into Guthrie by backfeed. Have we ever done it?
Yeah, we have, but not with the cottonwood.
No, okay.
Not with the cottonwood.
But we can, the two lakes will work together, but we primarily, we try to, try to balance the use of the Cottonwood Creek water from using it in the plant and using it to maintain the level in Liberty. It does enhance it, but they try to balance it so that optimize the treatment process. So.
Bill, why don't you take this time to tell us how does that whole process work? Take us through, we pull water from the Cottonwood and we make decisions on where that water goes. Maybe go through how we make that decision and what do we do on a regular basis, maybe so everybody kind of understands how we get our water.
I can tell you what I understand. I mean, Lee's here, he's probably more of how we actually function, but the way we had set it up was that, if we feel like that the Liberty was getting low, we could transfer water from the creek up to Liberty. We don't want to do it so much in the summer because of just the nutrient level in the creek. We want to, in the summertime, we prefer to bring the water directly to the plant. Okay, but in the winter, then we can transfer as much water as we can to Liberty Lake, and it helps maintain the level. So really, it's just a function of what's going on with that whole Liberty Basin, and in the summer, it's the same thing. Basically, we like to use it in the summer when we can. It's very nice. The Cottonwood water, very nice water to treat. Because it just, I guess that's a good word for it. Treats very easy, helps us on our chemicals. It's just a positive thing. I don't know if that answers your question.
On Guthrie Lake, how does that lake fill?
Well, it primarily just fills through the Guthrie drainage basin, which I forget how far south it goes, but it's a very long reach. And we can, like he was saying, we can transfer water from Liberty to Guthrie, but it's very rare we do it.
It's very rare.
We don't like to necessarily mix the two basins anymore when we have to. But we could in a pinch. It's just that we have water quality issues and we do it too much. So.
And I believe we have experienced algae bloom issues whenever we do that, and that can, yes.
It's hard to treat when it's, when
Very
you get the
difficult
algae.
it's true.
Are you gonna utilize the old pumps or just this new stuff you have? Well, I'm looking at it right here, right now.
No, we're going to utilize the pumps we put in 2009, 2008 or 9, whatever year it was. We're going to use that station, everything as it is. And by doing this, it's just like, I guess a good way to say it is we're just protecting our investment.
Okay. I just, because I used to irrigate in there a lot, so.
Oh, okay.
I actually used the pump station too. Just back and run my equipment in there and then shut the dam and flooded it, and then I could use water out of it.
Oh, you're talking about the old bowl.
Oh, the
Yeah,
old
the
one.
old one.
Okay, got you.
Is
Okay.
that the reason the dam?
I knew what I was doing. My father and I used to do that all the time.
And right now, those pumps are being fixed, is that what's being, one of them is, and then the other one will get fixed after
Usually
that?
come in Wednesday or
Yes,
Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, so that's why there's no water going in right now.
From a financial standpoint, just because I know that you're looking at those numbers with wide eyes like I did today, I will tell you it is not a budgeted item. It was not budgeted in the FY15 budget. I will say that the Oklahoma City Waterline Fund, if you were to choose to do this, it currently has $1.828 million in it, and we've allocated around 500 and some change to it. And after those items are deducted out, we would have 1.318 in the Oklahoma City Waterline Fund, which, to refresh your memory, is from a lawsuit with Oklahoma City, and that was the fund that we've basically put off to a reserve. We have not had to touch that money until the past year or so, and that would be just a lack of, we didn't have the money in the operational budget from sales tax, so we've had to start dipping into that fund that we hadn't touched in a very long time. So I don't want to just say that it's available. That, of course, is a council decision to do it. I'm saying it is available, but it's not something that we typically dip into very easily without a lot of thought. That is our only reserve for water and wastewater that sets aside designated to those items.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is very much restricted to water-related
It is
things.
only
And I-
dedicated.
And I've heard around the community people saying, oh, well, you can just tap into that money for whatever reason. The reality is, it is for water infrastructure or water-related
I think
issues.
the covenant exactly says something to the effect of, maybe not exactly, that if it improves our water or wastewater systems. So we have to be very careful. And
I
this
just
would be an
wanna-
improvement of capacity.
I want to clarify that, because I think people think it's just a bunch of money sitting there that we can just use it for anything, and no, it's very restricted.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Where do we get primarily, where does Guthrie get its water right now? Is it coming from the Cottonwood or is it coming from the lake
I mean, at this moment,
right now?
what,
What, Guthrie?
Yes.
Rain.
I mean, is it coming out of the lake or is it coming out of the
Oh,
river?
no,
We're
we,
pulling from Liberty.
we pull from Liberty. It's kind of a half and half deal throughout
Okay.
the year. You know,
That's the
it's-
mix you were talking about a
Yeah.
minute ago.
it's-
Okay.
it's-
Yeah, Jim, I mean, our three primary sources are the lake, Guthrie Lake, Liberty Lake, and Cottonwood Creek. That's the three functions.
And it
of-
usually depends on what time of year.
Yeah,
You know,
Okay.
and the water quality. If it turns bad in the lake where it's harder for us to treat, we are able to go over to.
Well, is that why our lake levels are down
That's
now?
why they are down now, because we had that trouble with the taste and odor that we had. So we had to switch over to a lake that we usually don't run on at that period. And then by the time we come back to Liberty, we haven't had no rain to fill anything up. So we haven't been able to fill Liberty up through our normal usage like we do to get that water in there to make them look
And that makes these pumps necessary.
right.
Okay.
yeah, and then we're just doing a low water dam. The pump's already there.
Yeah.
We're just enhancing.
Just make the dam a little taller, a little
Right.
higher, hold more water.
That way we can pull in the capacity of water that we normally do. Whenever we first started, we was able to do our 1.2 million. Now we can barely get that the way it is now. That's just because there's no water in the creek.
Yeah, Bill, just a question, if we do this project, you were saying at the current way we're set up, we're, at our best case, when we have water, we were doing 1.2. Will this bring us up to a 4 million gallon? Can we pull 4 million? Do you think it'll get us to that point?
Yes.
It's gonna get us pretty close. I think our permit, I think we go up to 4 million gallons by permit, I think.
Right.
Permitted.
Well, I got, my question is this structure could get us to that point?
Yeah, this would, the pumps, like he said, they're 1,500 apiece, so that's 3,000, so that's close to 4 million. Yeah, three
Yeah,
times,
it's
yeah,
a little
14,
over
a
4.
little over 4, so it changes the whole dynamic as far as being able to do that. Would we want to do that all the time? Maybe not, but
Right.
it'd be nice to have that capability.
Yeah, I guess my question is, I don't want to spend $500,000 and not be able to pull our
Yeah,
maximum
we
amount
That was it. And, you know,
if we had to.
yeah,
And I mean, it's a, because we obviously are spending taxpayer money when we look at these projects, and
I agree.
we gotta be able to take the maximum amount for the, least dollar
I agree.
figure, so.
Well, this allow us to do that when we can, when we want to do it. We'll be
Right.
able to pull that maximum amount.
So I have a question. So people are upset that Guthrie's down and Liberty's a little down. Will this here make it so we can put some of the Cottonwood water in those lakes if it's super low? Or is it just so we're not pulling from those lakes when they are low? Does that make sense?
Well, it's going to be a little bit, we can help Liberty some. Typically, like we were saying, we don't like to take from Liberty and put it into Guthrie unless it's just, I mean, it has to be really,
You got to go from Cottonwood, go Liberty.
or from Cottonwood to the plant.
Okay.
Which thus-
Cottonwood can't jump to
Exactly,
Guthrie.
which will take the demand off of Guthrie, which will
Right.
stay fuller longer. or-
Guthrie.
yeah. So it's just a balancing act. You know, and once we get out of this drought, then this discussion goes away, but we're not out of it. You know, and
Well,
thank
and
God.
it's
2 more years.
I've heard from ACOG and some of the people down there that this could be another decade before we fully get out.
Could be.
Well, and,
But-
it's 8 years on the council, and we're talking more about droughts than we do about rainy season, so I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients in southern Oklahoma that have always had an abundance of water. They have usually 47 inches of rain a year. They, like I have one basin, the lake that we designed, it was always full, basically running over. They have not had any appreciable runoff in the last 2.5 years in that basin. It's like 18 square miles.
Yeah.
So that's a game changer right there.
Well, and we've been blessed too.
You really have
I mean,
someone.
I mean, how many times have we pulled the drought card? We haven't had to
Yeah.
in this community, so,
We've done no restrictions
yeah,
on water.
And a lot of that's because of the cottonwood.
yeah,
You know,
I agree.
a lot of that's because of the cottonwood.
It's rare to see these days, a community that doesn't have to do restrictions.
Yeah.
Okay,
I hope that's helpful.
Thank
Anything
you,
else?
Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
So, council members, if you want us to move forward with this, talk to me. I know we can't make a vote at the workshop, but, you know, if you want to send me an email or want us to start moving forward,
When would we see it next, likely?
we
Next
could
agenda?
you could, how far are you on design, Bill?
We'll need about another 30 days to get design done, and we'll give you some permitting stuff. So I don't want the money tomorrow, but we need the blessing in the next probably 45, 60 days, probably.
I can bring you something back to council at the next meeting to vote on, and I'll get the ball rolling. We would
More of a
then-
blessing? That-
Well, no, we all would vote to give him the
Yeah.
ability to finish the design,
Okay.
and then we would bring it back for a request to go to bid. Then we would take it to bid, and then we would bring it back to you for the final signature on a contract.
But I don't want to go to bid unless we know we're going to spend the money.
Absolutely.
Because it's not fair to ask the guys to bid on it.
Yeah,
if we
and
don't-
then
Absolutely.
walk away, yeah,
Absolutely.
all right,
So, all right,
yeah,
thank you.
all for water.
It's hard to live without it.
Okay, let's go to number 4, discussion regarding Keep Oklahoma Beautiful.
We have the opportunity to have the executive director of Oklahoma Beautiful with us, and Jeanette is going to talk a little bit about what does Keep Oklahoma Beautiful provide for the whopping $100 a year to be an affiliate. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Before I start, I want to say Guthrie is one of my favorite places. I really enjoy Guthrie a lot. And my husband and I spent many a Valentine in bed and breakfast around here and antique here often. The film companies knew what they were doing when they chose Guthrie as a backdrop for movies like Twister and Rain Man. So, I mean, it's a perfect little town, and I think that your growth has nowhere to grow but up. And I'm glad to be here to talk to you about how Keep Oklahoma Beautiful might be able to partner with people in town or with the city to help make that happen. I am Jeanette Nancy, Executive Director, and next slide, I don't have, just,
Cool.
and this is my staff. The three of us cover the whole state, all 77 counties. So we rely on the volunteers that partner with us to help us make things happen all across the state. Next slide. Our mission is to empower Oklahoma citizens to preserve and enhance the state's natural beauty and ensure a healthy, sustainable environment. That becomes so important on so many of the rest of our programs. What we do is work toward a healthy, sustainable environment. These are our programs: the Great American Cleanup, Fresh Paint Days, and Litter Regional Workshops. Linda Ben, and I'll talk about all of these individually. Next slide. The Great American Cleanup. Now, this is something that I really think that many cities who I speak to pay the most attention to, because in the end, I'm going to give you a number that's going to make you drop your jaw. Registered groups receive free, that word's in caps for a reason, trash bags, vests. Those are safety vests, the electric green ones, like this dog's shirt. Gloves, granola bars, water, and we have grants for lawn equipment. All registrants can apply for grants to receive lawn equipment, and OG&E has cash grants for beautification projects or those bigger cleanups, like cleaning up those rural roads where people decide that they turn them into dumps on us. Next slide. The impact of our last spring. The Great American Cleanup happens between March 1st and May 31st. People begin to register in January. Last 2014, over 3 million pounds of litter were cleaned up statewide. 3 million in the state of Oklahoma. This isn't Keep America Beautiful. This is the state of Oklahoma. 3,500 acres of public lands, 10,000 tires were recycled, 4,500 flowers were planted, and trees were saved. So all of this to say, what's that big number? Why does this matter? What does Great American Cleanup do for cities, municipalities, and county governments? Next slide. Whoops, backwards. There. $5,157,922. This number represents the money saved and the cost avoided by municipalities for what our volunteers did with our free supplies that city and county governments didn't have to pay employees to do. Our next program is Fresh Paint Days. Next slide. What this does is takes buildings in your town. You'll see the before pictures on the left. These eyesores, we really try to avoid using that word, but it truly is what it is. These buildings that are owned by someone who maybe doesn't live in town, or they're abandoned and the city's wondering what can we do with it. We have painted these provided paint for these buildings to be painted to community groups all over the state of Oklahoma. Next slide. Last year in 2014, this happens in August and September, 25 counties, 43 groups, 54 projects, 427 volunteers. There's that big number. That's what we help provide cities so that you don't have to provide city works to do what we do. This building here in this picture was a building in El Reno owned by a 92-year-old woman. A movie was filmed in this building. It's historic to El Reno. And what it looked like on the left compared to what it looks like on the right now. Those are the changes that we can make with this program. In one city that participated, the city applied for the paint. They gathered volunteers from local community groups like Scouts, and it was a college town, so they used the Greek system, and they painted the firehouse. Another county used it to paint the armory that was given back by DEQ to that community. Next slide. So remember these dates, Fresh Paint Days, applications are available June 1, application deadline is July 31st, and then participants are announced. The participants are chosen by the man who provides the paint from HIS Coatings. We take those applications. All those applications give an explanation of why this building should qualify. They're public buildings, or they're along Main Street, or they serve a public purpose. There was a home in El Reno that was privately owned, but it was communally used. The people that lived there provided it to people who were passing through town but didn't want to sleep on the street. And so it was a historic home, and they applied for the paint, and HIS Coating said, done. So all we need from the people who make the application is permission from the owner of the property to paint. And then we provide gallons upon gallons of paint. We painted the chapel at El Reno, Fort Reno, this past September. Historically, they could only use a specific color paint. It's a weird white. It's not just white, but it's white. But what Fresh Paint Days is recycled paint. HIS Coatings gives us paint that they recycle. That's why it's a program that we are in love with, because we're taking paint that's not going to wind up in a landfill or in a lake or a river, and we're recycling it for good and for the beauty of communities. Well, El Reno only could use white. So Joe Cox, the man who owns HIS, said, well, we don't want to leave El Reno and Fort Reno out. It's historic. We want it to happen. What we'll do is we'll provide the paint for half price. And then we had a local donor pay for the paint. So Fort Reno didn't have to pay for it. The donor was glad to give the whole $160 it cost for the 60 gallons of paint. And Fort Reno's chapel is now painted. So it's a great, great program. We really, really are happy to partner with HAS coatings to help communities make this happen. Next slide. We don't want to leave the kids out. We always want to talk about our kids. We have this End Litter program where the students in high schools, we offer it to all high schools all across Oklahoma. Actually, this year's winner was announced this morning. It's actually a homeschool student of high school age. They make PSAs for us, and those PSAs are put out on our YouTube, and they get millions of hits. But it's promoting collecting litter in the state of Oklahoma. So we love to do it. Our sponsor provides the winners with $750. So this homeschooled high school student is going to get a $750 check, and then a young woman from the university, Oklahoma City University, is going to get a $750 check. She was announced that she won this morning also. You can see those on our website, this year's winning videos. Next slide. Our Environmental Excellence Awards, we have those every year. That is our one and only fundraiser every year. So we do have a little raffle during the awards ceremony, but this is one of our key signature things that we like to do, because of what this affords us is the opportunity to recognize people who fulfill that mission that we read earlier. They do projects and programs and events within the state of Oklahoma that sustain a healthy environment, beautify Oklahoma, and provide environmental recyclable, reduce, reuse, recyclable. And those nominations are made by the public. Oftentimes we'll see a project that we think, oh my gosh, they need one of our awards. Well, we can't nominate them because we choose them, so we contact them, or we contact someone involved with them and say, please nominate them, because we just want to shine those people who help us make our job easier. So that nomination, go backwards. The nomination process happens by nominated by the public. Then the judging process, 5 people outside KOB staff and board of directors, but who work and partner with KOB, do the judging. The board commendation awards are chosen by our board of directors, and then we have our celebration every November. This year's celebration will be on November 30th. Okay, next slide. These are our affiliate counties where we have affiliates. When I joined Keep Oklahoma Beautiful in July 2013, that's not even 2 years ago, I was on the board of directors for almost 2 years before I became the executive director. But as executive director in 2013, I inherited 11 affiliates. I knew this just wasn't going to work. We can't beautify Oklahoma without the boots on the ground of cities and communities that help us make our projects and programs work. Because everybody understands that beautification produces economic growth. The cities that we have, the affiliates that we have now, we are turning 50 in April, and we're trying to reach 50 affiliates by April 1st, and we have 49. And they include the city of Atoka, the city of Chickasha, the city of Collinsville, the city of Guyman, the city of Hooker, the city of Norman, the city of Okmulgee, the city of Perry, the city of Wilburton, the city of Yukon, and then other community groups all over the states, like Ardmore Beautification Council, El Reno Chamber of Commerce, the Going Green Team, Clean Up Eufaula, Lake McMurtry and Friends. And then we have community groups of people who decided, well, I want to partner with my city, and my city isn't doing this right now, so I want to be the affiliate, and then they partner with the city. Oklahoma City Beautiful partners with the city of Oklahoma City, and it maintains 2,500 acres of medians for and with the city of Oklahoma City, which helps the city of Oklahoma City defray taxpayer dollars, and it helps Oklahoma City Beautiful fulfill its mission to sustain a healthy and beautiful environment. The city of Enid, it's just a group of young women, or actually I don't think anybody on the city of Keep Enid Beautiful is younger than 60, but I think they're young women because I'm pretty close to that now. They work with the city of Enid, and they've done the same thing. All of the medians and corner garden landscaping in downtown Enid that has fully enhanced the look of downtown Enid is done by Keep Enid Beautiful in partnership with the city of Enid. And they use both Oklahoma City Beautiful and Keep Enid Beautiful were just awarded grants from Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. They are only grants available to affiliates of Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. They're provided, the funds are provided by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, but they're for roadside beautification. Well, those medians include that. And so the city of Oklahoma City just received a $2,800 grant. The city of Enid received a $2,400 grant. The city of Hooker got $4,000 for the things that they want to do. So those grants are only available if you're an affiliate with Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. And those, that obviously is closed right now. And we're hopeful that the Department of Transportation will be able to provide us those funds again next year. So cities and municipalities can work with the community groups that join us as affiliates, but it's also beneficial to cities to be our affiliate because the city of Yukon got 2 grants this time and they're doing Main Street beautification. So